Welcome, Prince. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. How are you doing, Samantha?
I'm wonderful. And with a name like that, there's Prince, and that's your real name, and then there was Prince that in the music industry that's no longer with us. But it's a fantastic, catchy name. I like it. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I've actually gotten that a long time. They're like, "Oh, like the artist formerly known as."
yes.
No, unlike the artist formerly known as, I'm Prince Bagdasarian, not the artist formerly known as Prince. But yeah, I've been compared. I've been said that so many times throughout my life. People brought that up all the time,
I bet they did. So I shouldn't have done it, but I thought you were used to hearing it.
even when he after he passed. Still happens. Like
I know, right?
it's a
And
good
you're
comparison. It's a good comparison.
It is. I know Prince has got many awards in the industry for filming and directing. Um, and Abstraction was one of them, as you can see behind him. He directed Abstraction and won awards for that. And when he was younger, he was an illusionist, and he's from Armenia. So, Prince, if you were to encourage the younger generation, what would be the main focus and why?
The main focus. Interesting. Um, I'd say giving up has been a big reoccurring theme on the younger generation from what I've seen. I know I've had relatives, younger ones, that have pursued some things of interest, and then they've kind of gave it up halfway through. Um, but perseverance and just kind of pushing through, and when you fall,
Mm-hmm.
getting up, it's all part of the game, and it's all part of the challenge. And if it doesn't break you, it makes you stronger, and that's no different. And yeah, you kind of need those falls and hurdles in order to get over those humps and bumps, and for climb that ladder. Whether you die trying, or you get to the top and you get to that light at the end of the tunnel, or not, but you still progress towards it. So I think giving up and just kind of pushing through, never giving up and pushing through is something very important for the younger generation. And people with now it's like the attention span of some of these, yeah, younger crowds. It's like
Yeah.
they get shorter and shorter. I mean, we were trying to get more videos on YouTube before, where it was longer, and people wanted more, longer, lengthy videos, and we got there. And then now it's like we're going backwards. Now we want 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Like TikTok and Instagram stories. Just
Yes.
fly through. So um, the attention span, yeah. So it's like it's constantly changing, and it's constant. Everything's moving fast. And but hence the younger generation, the younger crowd wants to also change along with it. They want to change careers. They want to change paths of what their goals, their constant goals are constantly changing. But I think if you stick to one and you never give up and kind of push forward, I think that's very important. Up until now, so it still applies. Yeah.
Right, that's very good advice.
It's funny. My industry, there is no one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how it's like everybody either makes it or doesn't make it in their own certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain uh, templates you can follow in the beginning, early stages, like, as for example, going to film school, learning the technical side of certain things. Doing all those things, it'll make you understand the technical side of things, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously film history and things like that, which is what I did back in when I started a couple decades ago. Um, that's all great, but now it's more about the relationships,
Mm-hmm.
about forging these relationships, and actually, again, going back to never giving up and never giving in to these no's and these closed doors,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of creating your own things, even if you are not allowed to create by these other people you know
Right.
um, so and everybody could do it now. You know what I mean? Like it's so crazy. Like anybody with an iPhone, they can shoot a feature film, really,
Right.
a short film or whatever else. I mean, it depends on the crew you get, how you expose the light and things like that, and people involved. If you get some creative people involved, they can make a trash can look like $1 million, and these shots can look amazing with an iPhone and certain lenses or what have you. And then going back to the directing thing and writing, it's like it's all about story too, right? Content, and content is always king.
Right.
And if you have the content, if you have a real good story to tell, that always will come out on top all the time, regardless of how your film looks, how your sound, and all that stuff. That is content is always the number one. If you could have a great looking film, you could have a great sounding film.
Right.
You could have all the connections in the world, and you could be, all this. But if your content is terrible, then there goes that.
Yes.
Small and big.
It has to be good stuff too. You gotta be creative.
Yeah.
You have
All right, if you don't
something.
mind me drinking, right? Look, you're there. You go. Okay, that you answered.
No, because I can't have the air conditioning on and I've got all these lights on me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I feel like I'm cooking.
You're
I'm the one in the oven.
you're drinking. So you're drinking cold, right?
Sorry?
Are you drinking something cold then?
Yes, I'm drinking cola.
Pumpkin tea, pumpkin spice
Ooh, nice.
tea with
I,
one of the mugs I got gifted.
perfect gift for any season. So what inspired you into this career?
Uh, so going back to that little brief, soundbite you threw in there about me being a magician when I was younger, that was the first exposure I had to the entertainment industry.
Hmm.
So being a child, I started at 9 years old. Up until 14 years old, I was the youngest child magician in Los Angeles, performing at Magic Castle and all these other places. I have different television channels and all sorts of stuff. And my sister was my assistant.
Mm,
Um,
it's amazing.
it gave us it gave us a different POV of how the entertainment industry works, from what I see now. Um, it was obviously live performances are a little bit different than recreating movie magic in a different way, right?
Yeah.
It's different magic, but it's still nevertheless magic because it's all an illusion of some sort.
Yes.
Uh, so my sister and I kind of just got thrown into that, and the hobby became a career, and then the career basically engulfed us so much so that we lost a little bit of our childhood, and it was not a great thing.
Mm,
Uh, Although we were having a ton of fun, we were making a lot of money, we were getting a lot of exposure, but there was a lot of closed doors,
mm,
only because we were children. We
right.
were children in an adult themed industry.
Hmm.
So we decided to move on, and my dad managed us those years in Los Angeles. And while he was doing this, he was also filming a lot of our performances.
Oh,
So
wow.
he had all the equipment to film it because he used to do weddings.
Hmm.
So all his equipment got transferred over to these performances that he used to film, and then he used to edit them. So he basically did linear editing, not non-linear where we do on computers and all sorts of stuff now. He used to do it from cassette to cassette, tape to tape. Like so everything was sliced and diced, and
Hmm.
doing all that work, and so challenging. But it was
Right.
also so inspiring because I saw him firsthand doing all this stuff from the production to the post production, basically.
Right.
And then I started taking his camera and I started creating content. And then when I realized the content was no good, I decided that to be um, uh, what needs to be made better is the stories. So I dwelled into like, okay, what am I really doing with this? And if I want to accelerate into a career like this, I need to have stories that I want to be able to tell. And boy, did I have a ton of stories that I needed to tell. Um, so that's when I, joined film school, and my mom kind of backed me up on that, and went through film school, graduated, did a bunch of films, told a lot of stories, filmed
Wow.
everything, and before our digital age, where
Yes.
everybody didn't have phones,
Yeah, it was
and
great.
film, you know. So yeah, so that kind of was inspiring, and also at the same time, I was following a lot of directors, at the time who were making it as well, and making it on indie budgets like Robert
Yeah.
Rodriguez and smaller guys like those. Even Martin Scorsese was making projects like Mean Streets and things like that. So I was inspired after going to film school to see some of these films being
Right.
made on shoestring budgets,
Mm-hmm.
even though they were being shot on film, like actual film, right?
Right.
So I was like, oh, it's possible. So by the time I got through film school and I got almost was graduating through it, and I was gonna, get out there into the world of the industry and try to see which way I'm gonna go. The digital world was already here. Like there was no more
Yes.
film, and everything was like digital now and going towards that route. And so I started editing a lot, and my career kind of took me into the editorial side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent the next 7 or so years doing a lot of editing on a lot of Hollywood big budget projects.
Right.
Even Sylvester Stallone's Rambo to a bunch of other, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh,
films,
that's
all this
awesome.
stuff, whatever. So it gave me a lot of experience on
Mm-hmm.
that side of the world of the post production, and I slowly kind of I basically combined my knowledge from the entertainment side of doing live performances as a magician,
Right.
and combine that with post production, being in an office suite with the talent maybe, or the director or the producer, and actually talking to them about their film and what they want changed and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
And coupled those together, married those together. The only thing I was missing was the development and the actual production of a film, right? Um, so that's where I decided that maybe I need to start investing in my own production gear, production company, start expanding, and forge relationships, which goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Is very important, and some of those forged relationships eventually became a phone call away, who were able to help me to do my first feature film, which was this one. And
Abstraction.
then I did 4 others after that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the one that kind of was the one that opened up the door to go into the feature film side of things.
And you got an award.
And we got, I think, 13, 14 awards
Yes.
back in 2015 on that one. We were nominated for 20 something.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Diverted Eden won Best Action Film in
Yes.
2018. But then they changed the title of that because that movie's on Showtime right now. So this one's the only one that's out, but it's called Abducted now.
Right.
So yeah, Abducted's out on Showtime. But yeah, no, it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride. But as the pandemic slowed everybody down on the
I
momentum.
know. In the industry, people don't realise how hard it was hit. It was really hit hard.
The thing is, a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes, that a lot of people obviously don't know or assume. One could assume, obviously, as far as what the pandemic did to a lot of people, um, slowing people down, shutting businesses, this and that. And my business was no different, and we were one of the worst hit industries. uh,
Right.
Theater shutting down to the video on demand changing, to the content need, the demand for content changing drastically as well. Studios making deals, to release films, on at home, like on streaming, which is crazy. Um, but so the territory started changing and things like that, and then simultaneously, independent film also changed as well in the last year or so. And my next feature film was called Uncontrolled, and we were supposed to shoot in Ohio last year,
Right.
and in February we were almost greenlit, and March was when the pandemic started technically, and Ohio was one of the worst hit states in the United States, and they were one of the first ones to shut down the entire state. And we were relying on Ohio because they have a tax credit, and we had locations there. We had some of my crew members there. Um, so it affected me drastically because it's a huge thing to get a film greenlit to get going on. So that undertaking was kind of like it just all in vain because of this thing happening. So not only did it get paused, but it also almost just shattered into a bunch
Oh,
of.
and there's so much work and money that goes behind it too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And picking it back up and continuing where you left off is not as easy as many people think and say. And so that's what we've been trying to do for a little bit. And simultaneously, I wrote a few other films,
Right.
while we've been locked up and all this other jazz. And I started doing other smaller projects. But the fact of the matter is, it's still a hot commodity, that script of the Uncontrolled. And a lot of people are like now coming back, and production companies are looking at it again.
Right.
Um, it's just it's just rinse and repeat, right? It's
It is.
don't give up. Don't there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're gonna find it. We're
Well,
gonna
I've
get.
spoke to a lot of actresses and actors, and I'm actually helping one do their self tapes
Mhm.
auditions,
Mhm.
and they, a lot of friends that I know, have when the industry shut down, it financially was a huge burden on them too because they weren't working, and then they're doing the self tapes now, and they can do up to 120 auditions self tape, and just get two parts. It's been very difficult for people in the industry, and
Yeah,
and then on set you have to have COVID tests, and the SAG are so strict with that. It's very, and people don't realise how strict it is in the industry, and they have very strict protocols for being on set and COVID testing more than most businesses.
absolutely, absolutely. No,
You
no,
know.
and wearing masks too. Just
Yes.
and we are in these challenging environments sometimes, and carrying heavy gear, some of the crew members and things like that, and
Right.
it's not easy that's for sure. And it's long hours as well, being on set. So it's
Yes.
tough. It's tough. Definitely been tough on our industry. But we're getting there. Look, there's another light at the end of the tunnel. So we're almost there. We're almost mask
I
free, but not
know.
quite. Not quite.
As if the industry isn't hard enough as it is. I have admiration for all of you because I know how much hard work you actually put into it, and it must be exhausting sometimes. And I hope it fully opens up soon, and everyone's safe, and then can get that camera rolling again. Lights, action, and camera. Let's do
Sure.
this.
Sure. Yeah, it's been going. It's been going. So I've been seeing a little bit more green lighted projects and happening, and
Mm,
it's good to see that. It's good to see it kind of
yes.
back a little bit. A little bit.
Well, I hope to see you making a new film soon, Prince.
Yeah.
How has music influenced your life?
Music. Well, scores, musical scores, and growing up, from John Williams, listening to the first Jaws theme in a film and how that inspired Steven Spielberg to collaborate with John Williams for the rest of his career on scoring, dozens and dozens of other films. It's a very important piece of the puzzle on a film, and so because of that, I never came from the musical side, but being on a magician and performing large illusions on stage, music was a counterpart to that. So it went hand in hand. If the music wasn't right, your
Right.
performance didn't work right. So same thing here. Movies. If the music is terrible, it's gonna pull the audience away from that particular scene. So sometimes it's better just not to have it, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta, collaborating and working with a composer that knows what he's knows your genre as a go collaborator, and you can marry the two together. It's so beneficial, and especially when you see it on a big screen and with audiences, you feel you see the emotions and the roller coaster they go on, because of the music as well. So yeah, music as far as scoring a film like that has been something that I've been involved with, with the composers of mine, which one of who I've worked with a lot has been Rami Kusha, and and recently I've been doing a lot of music videos again because of the
That's
pandemic,
awesome.
and somehow I found myself back to square one because that's kind of where I started originally.
Right.
was doing music videos, and then I went branched off to films, and I never did a single music video for a decade or more,
Oh
right?
wow.
And yeah, so but then I started getting phone calls, and I got people from Warner Brothers indie music label calling me about directing some rappers and hip hop artists and R&B artists, things like that. And um, it's funny
Awesome.
because it's just kind of I reminisced a little bit about it was like a nostalgic feeling going back into this, when
Right.
back then that I used to do all this stuff when I started my career. And but here it was on a different level a little bit, so I kind of started getting more better phone calls. One of which was OT Genesis recently I had done last few years. Big rapper, Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's Christmas video I
Yeah.
did last
Oh, awesome.
Christmas, and that was cool. So that was a collaboration with another Canadian artist, and working with Snoop Dogg, for example, like going back to the pandemic thing you mentioned, is like not only COVID tests, but we need to be masked up. We couldn't have Snoop leave his compound. We were kind of like limited to the amount of locations and places we can shoot with him.
Right.
And this was in the midst of the pandemic, but I managed to basically direct this pretty crazy video that everybody loved. The label loved it, the studios guys loved it, and all that stuff. And even another one I did for this guy named Ian Gott. His was a pretty good hit, and his label liked it so much that we're actually doing another one next month.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, it's like very story
Mm-hmm.
driven videos, with a lot of substance. They're kind of like mini movies. We call it.
Yes.
Um, but they're fun. They're fun. They're cool. They're really fun. They're creative, and they keep me on my toes until we get the next green light on the next movie for sure. Okay.
Well, and also music makes memories, and
Yeah,
the lyrics to a song, holds a memory for most people. And so if they're watching that video too, it's like you have a film and then you have Hans Zimmer in the background. And if you're doing a music video, which is the main focus is the music and the words, and then they can have the imagination of the video too and put the video together, and it all rings true. It's like a yin and yang, I think.
absolutely. And if your visuals don't go hand in hand with the lyrics,
Right.
then there goes that. The music video is not going to work at all.
Yeah.
Or if you divert too much from the lyrics or of what somebody has in their head of how they interpret that visual to be, and then
Yeah.
you show them something completely different, they could go yeah, either way. It could they could either hate it or love it, right?
Love it. Right.
uh, yeah, so abstract is cool, but there's a fine line there, right, for music videos, from lyric to screen to visuals.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of work that goes into it, and that's awesome. You're very talented, Prince. Very talented. You got it all going
Yeah.
on.
No, I said thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Why, of all the charities you could choose from, which one would you choose to advocate for, and why?
That's an interesting question because charity wise, I like to donate to very industry related charities, especially a lot that have to do with PETA and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Because I'm a big animal lover.
Right.
But with my dad passing recently from cancer, I've been looking at a lot of that now. Not a whole lot of money to donate to charity. I'm not at that level yet, but
Hmm.
if I had to do it, more often so than I do. I think some of those cancer society and stuff like that would be something that I would definitely look into. Mind you, I have to look at what kind of research they do, but I think cancer research and stem cell research is kind of something of interest of mine recently.
Right, yeah, and I'm very, very sorry you've just lost your father, Prince. So my
And
condolences to your whole family,
thank you,
and
Samantha.
it's painful. And even though we know they're leaving, it doesn't make the grief any easier. So
Sure,
my heart is with you all at the moment.
sure. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you. I know he's still with us and he's looking down. He's definitely proud of
right.
me and my sister still. And so, yeah, I still got to do him proud. And, I got to make that next movie, and his name will be on for sure.
Oh, in tribute to him.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
I did make a promise to him before he left, so I had that conversation with him. Luckily,
You
so
did?
yeah, I did. I did.
Oh, well, I hope to see his name up there.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
What's your father's name?
Edward. Edward.
Edward. Okay, Edward, he made you a promise. He's got to stick to it.
That indeed I will do.
Oh, and it things happen. Things happen in the universe. If we want to, we throw that out there that it's going to happen, like putting his name in a film as a tribute, and it will happen. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very sorry, and condolences. Your mother is still around.
Yeah, yeah. She's
Yeah.
around. She was actually at my house recently, earlier today, and she was with the kids, took the kids to the park and stuff. Better than
Oh,
sitting at home, you know. It's not good for her. Sit alone. She lives alone. Gonna
yeah.
get her out of there, as much as possible, and you know, to look at something different than just the memories all around, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Distraction. She'll need that.
yeah.
Because yeah, it's when everybody goes home and then it's been a couple of months. That's when she's gonna feel the loneliness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm
Hey, think
glad.
about the social media though too. So she's big
Oh,
on
is she?
yeah, she's big on Facebook and she shares my stuff all the time, just like my dad
Yes.
was. And it's
Yeah.
funny, she put up a post a few days ago or something like that, and she tagged him. I was like, Mom, come on, he passed. You can't tag him.
Oh,
You can't tag him anymore.
she
Uh,
can because she still feels him there.
sure, but yeah, I don't
I
know. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that.
I know. A lot of
Yeah,
people, that have passed are still have an account, and yeah,
okay.
it's hard to say he's not here anymore after so many decades, So
Sure.
she's still treating him like he is. You just give her time.
Yeah.
Is there anything that no one has asked you in an interview that you would have liked them to ask you?
Ah, interesting. Hmm.
Trick question.
I probably the answer to your question is yes, there has been, but I can't think of it from the top of my head what that thing was.
Oh, you think about it after.
Yeah, yeah, good question. But yeah, no, I can't think of it right now. But there's been so many occasions I'm like, how come he or she didn't say that? She was almost there to mention it, but she didn't or ask me about that.
Right?
No, I can't think of it right now.
That's
But
okay.
after I watch this interview, I'll come up with something else that you should have asked me that you didn't.
Right? I'm going to leave that in. So, what hobbies do you have? What when you're not at work and you're just relaxing, and or what gets you excited outside work, outside the industry, and you know
What did you say, Samantha?
what's your hobbies? What do you like? Like going to.
Did you say relaxing? I don't think I know what that vocab. I don't think I have vocabulary at all. I have no idea what relaxing is.
So
Um,
yoga's off the table then, right?
no, I do. I actually went to one of my friends. Did this mind travel meditation thing recently, uh,
Awesome.
and it's Sebastian Siegel is his name, and we were at Wisdom LA. I don't know if you've been to Wisdom LA, but
Mhm.
if you have not, it's pretty amazing. You could they pretty much project images on the dome, this giant dome, like the ArcLight was, right? And
Wow, where's that? I've never seen that.
yeah, Wisdom LA, look it up. And
Okay.
Sebastian, I think he might be doing a few more of these. And Sebastian was in my film. He played one of the villains in the film.
Wow.
And he's been telling me for several years, you got to come out, you got to come out. I'm not a big meditation guy. I can't shut off my mind like that. I can't let his voice control me like that, right?
Right.
But I gave into it finally, and I went to this thing, and it was amazing. It was also at a good time because just as I'm grieving, right, with my dad's stuff happening, immediately after this, I go to this, and it put me in a different headspace, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, you lay on these couches, and you put on these headsets and you listen to his voice for 2 hours. It was
Right.
amazing. It was amazing, and you could intermittently close your eyes and open your eyes and see these visuals. And it's almost like you're just kind of in that. It's kind of like your background there.
Right.
It's literally like your background. It's
See?
like in space, right? Or just like
I
traveling
know. It
in
is.
space. And so yeah, that was fun. It's not my hobby, but that was something new that I decided to try out. That was cool. But as far as hobbies go, I have I like movies obviously, and I like to watch films as well because they're I enjoy them, and at the simultaneously I also learn certain things from films.
Right.
So that's always been something that I do all the time, and I like to travel as well, go here and there. But I do have a side business that I started recently during the pandemic, actually, which is short-term rentals. And I started doing more short-term rentals because I started basically investing in these units and offering them for short-term rentals, like on Airbnb, VRBO, and HomeAway, and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and the reason I did this is because some of these properties that I was working with
Yeah.
and I acquired, I was giving them for rent for productions. So we were
Ah.
using them as location spaces, like we shot a horror film on one space. I have a cabin in Big Bear, California, here in the mountains, and my cabin was used for certain horror films and things like that. And
Well,
and
my friend just up in Big Bear doing a movie up there.
oh, interesting. There you go. See, yeah. So I
Yeah.
decided just to invest and kind of expanded to just opening it up to short-term rentals. And honestly, I haven't been able to visit my own spaces because it's been so much demand. Because people during the pandemic can work anywhere, literally,
Yeah.
and everything is remote. And it's like the world is your office now.
Yes.
And so here we are, and I think it's a good opportunity for that as well. Especially on a time for me from a standstill on the industry, it's kind of a good time to tap into something like that. That's
Hmm.
complete, contrast and contrary to what the standstill is of my industry.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's definitely booming. That's definitely changing as well. Travel is changing. You know,
And you're based out of LA too, right?
I am. Yeah.
Yes. I spend a lot of time in Los Angeles now myself.
Where are you now?
I'm in North Auburn, North California.
Oh, okay. Okay, which city though?
Auburn.
Oh,
It's
Auburn.
it's in between Sacramento and Tahoe.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, in
cool.
the foothills, right by the
LA,
Forest Hill Bridge. Huh?
sure. LA. I was born and raised in LA.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I've seen a lot of changes, some good and some bad.
Right.
Um, but recently, I've been seeing a lot of uh, changes towards the negative side, and I've
Mm.
seen a lot of people leaving. And some people that I know, especially industry people,
Right.
leaving back to the Midwest and
Going
maybe,
to Texas. Yeah.
yeah, Texas, yeah. So it's an
Just
interesting changes. Hopefully, we'll get back on the right course as we progress. Just like everything else.
yeah.
Literally,
How's one state so expensive and another state so affordable?
exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, look, I mean, honestly, from what I've seen, it was just way too many people coming here, and obviously, when you have that much demand,
Right.
of course, I mean, look, it's anything. It's like that, right?
Mm.
You go and flood the stores for toilet paper, and it's all
Right.
going to run out, and then when they refill the stock, they're going to raise the price on the toilet paper.
They did, and
And
they
they
did.
did. There you go. I haven't even
It's
paid
like
attention, but I've been paying that probably.
it's like, you know what? Next time, let's all just get a B day.
I know, but I have one.
Do it perfect.
Holy yes, I installed it. Best thing ever.
It is.
An infomercial for a bidet. Let's just throw one up here on the screen and just write your promo code or something. order 2 bidets with the promo code.
10% discount.
That box with Sam.
I don't think I'm going to leave this bit in. I think we should take that bit. We could leave it in for a funny. Let's see. I'll see when I rewatch it what it sounds like. Tell the viewers what to look out for in 2022.
Sure. So the first priority, I don't like to talk about too much of projects that are in development
Yes, I
because
know.
they do go away sometimes and they might never even get done.
Right.
But I got to keep working on it. So the first one that's on fast track right now is Uncontrolled. It's a car film. It's very it's action packed, just like the rest of my films, but this is 5 times bigger and more badass than all the other films I've done. And it's very time sensitive because of certain technology we're utilizing in the film. So therefore, I'm looking for investors now. We're kind of a little bit here and there, but we're just trying to figure out which angle to go, right?
Okay.
And so that's Uncontrolled, and then I have another one called Haven Ridge. It's a film about a sniper in the woods, but it's a completely mashup of different different POV of the whole sniper in the woods genre of
Right.
film people have seen so far. So we're throwing a little wrench into that and trying
Hmm.
something different. And so I just finished the script for that, and we're just gonna basically, if Uncontrolled does not get into production by next year, we're definitely gonna be in production on Haven Ridge because it is a smaller, more independent film versus Uncontrolled is a bigger, much bigger scale film that requires different production companies to come on board. But
Well, that's
um,
awesome.
yeah, so and then I have a ton of music videos that are lined up, and some of which I don't know if I'm gonna do yet or not. But any of my films gets greenlit, then those are gonna be on the kind of on the side burner. But yeah, we have another one we're doing next month, and then yeah, and then I have a sci-fi one that I wrote a few years ago, which is kind of the third one on the priority list, and that one's also a little bit bigger on the VFX side. So
Hmm.
that one requires a little bit more money than
I
Uncontrolled.
love sci-fi. It's my favorite.
You probably seen. Have you seen Fifth Passenger? It's one I produced a few years ago with Star Trek Voyager cast members, and that's probably I think that's on Amazon Prime right now too.
Oh, really? I'll look out for that. Fifth passenger.
Fifth Passenger, yeah.
Okay.
Abstraction is on Tubi, I think. Abstraction's on Tubi. And then Diverted Eden, which is now called Abducted, that's on Showtime. So Showtime
Okay.
exclusively has a deal for several years to do that, to play that. So, and
Right.
then,
Well, you know what, Prince? Thank you so much for being a guest on Chatbox with Sam. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and you have a
absolutely.
wonderful evening.
It was my pleasure, Sam. Anytime. We'll do it again.
And blessings to your family for your father,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Edward.
Good luck with everything.
Thank
All right.
you. God bless.
You too. Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.